Hello and welcome back to Gilletier Games. Well, the time has come. Soulframe, still in a pre-alpha, early development state. The development team at Digital Extremes has officially lifted the NDA, the non-disclosure agreement. So what does that mean? What that means that now streamers, YouTubers can now share footage from the actual current state of this early access pre-alpha. Now, if you have never been involved with the Digital Extreme games this early, pretty much that being Warframe in the early days, Digital Extreme operates a little bit differently than some other companies. And I just want to talk about that while just kind of showing some general footage here. Don't expect any incredible combat scenes, as I'm not that terribly great at the game. But Digital Extremes, the way they do things, and the way they did in Warframe, and the way they're doing it in Soulframe, is they engage the community very, very, very early in the process. Quite frankly, much earlier than, I'll say, most developers do. So we as players get to provide feedback before it's too late. If you've ever been involved in an early access, maybe through Steam or whatnot, and discovered that it's kind of too late for certain kinds of feedback because there's already too much work that's been put into the game. And that feedback, I won't say it falls on deaf ears, but there's nothing that they can do about feedback of certain types very late game. And Digital Extremes takes a different approach. They have their ideas, they have their plans, they have all kinds of, assets they're working on, from animation to graphics to various skins and the environment and the modeling and all that hard work that goes into it. But the mechanics of the system may not be fully set in stone at the time that they engage the community or begin to engage the community. And we are very, very, very fortunate that DE, quite frankly, seems to very much enjoy the process or take advantage of the potential process where people can actually come in. Well, that was a mistake. Where people can come in and give feedback early in the process. Where we can, give them the feedback that, hey, this system of, I'm just going to say some random things here, not necessarily about this game, but the system of how potions work, I don't like it. It's uncomfortable, it's cumbersome, it's too difficult to find the materials or something, let's say. And we can actually provide that feedback early enough to where the devs can consider implementing a change, or maybe they don't, because they know what's coming down the road that will change its operation already. But they can take that feedback in early at a time when they can actually apply changes to the system or future plans or whatever it may be, because we have access, early on. Now, you can see here's some floating trees. Grab a screenshot of that real quick just so I can report that through the system. Okay, so, and these are also, this is no big deal, right? This isn't about the mechanics, the playability, whether or not it's fun or whatnot. But we can help as a community. It's no big deal. It takes me 2 minutes. I'll take a screenshot. I found a floating tree or two. I send it through the system, and now they have plenty of time to get that fixed. They just add it to their punch list for the world builders, and they can go in and they can move that tree and make it sit on the ground properly. And there's more serious things that can happen this early on. We're testing systems for them and letting them know which ones are fun, which ones are not, which ones need a little more work or whatnot, or certain things that seemed out of balance. And most of the time, you really don't get the opportunity to do that in the development of a game. Digital Extremes is kind of playing on an unfair and different battlefield, if you will, compared to some of their competition. And I don't mean that they're doing anything wrong. I'm saying that what they've done is completely just Sorry, changed the game. Excuse my pun. But what that does is lets them, their devs, their graphics people, their animators, lets them actually work with the community together to make a game that when it is released is already widely accepted as excellent by the community because they were involved early on. Now, we're not picking apart, as people who were involved early on, and others will soon be as well, we're not picking apart, I don't like this castle design or something. That's typically not what the feedback is after. It's after the playability. How does it feel to play? Catching small issues, what we like about new systems or old, and what we don't like or what we do like. And that is a really good thing for a developer to be confident enough to actually get involved that early with the community. They're not afraid. They just put themselves out there and say, let's build this. Come and tell us how it is. And that ends up creating an environment where you almost know that you're going to get a very playable game at its release, instead of having a lot of problems that some games have these days about not being widely accepted. I'll come back to Warframe as a stellar, absolutely stellar example of how that works. And it's proof that it worked. Because the game Warframe stayed in that early access beta state for a very long time. And lots of people played it and had a great time with that game while trying to help steer the direction towards more fun. And that's what we're all really after, ultimately, is a game that's more fun. Now, Soulframe, they're doing the same thing. And boy, this game certainly feels very different from Warframe, and that is also a very good thing. I'm a huge Warframe fan. I don't typically do Warframe videos on my channel, just because there's a well-saturated YouTube market already covered in that space, and I have my favorite YouTubers there already. So I didn't really feel that I was needed in that space. But a lot of time has been spent enjoying that Warframe game. Definitely gotten my entertainment value out of that investment, let me tell you. And so I have very high hopes for Soulframe. I think that we are going to see one heck of a game put out by DE. So just know that for now, there's some big changes coming. I won't make any kinds of announcements, either those that have already been made, other than this one that the NDA has been lifted, and we can now have Soulframe content on the various streaming and video services. We're not limited to just discussion and pictures anymore. So now you're going to actually get to see, even if you don't have access yet, you're going to get to see what's actually going on, what is being built, what is being played, what's available today. And right now, very pre-alpha. Everything feels really good as far as, combat and fluidity and all that. Everything feels actually quite nice. But you can tell that this is a very early stage, development project. And that's, quite frankly, okay. There is nothing wrong with a game that is in development. People just have to understand that this is not a final product. This is very early. And this is your chance, if you're involved, to give that feedback. And I can probably say safely that there are... Oh, hold on while I try and get out of this mess. Oh boy. Yeah, this is not going to go well. Excuse me while I nearly die, trying to talk and play at the same time. There's a lot more people that are going to be involved in the early access very soon. There's a lot of rumblings and discussions and official statements from DE about getting more people involved, and the lifting of the NDA is yet another sign of what's to come, that we're going to be getting more people involved. And I think that's also a great thing, because the game is very stable. Definitely no problems with lag and that sort of thing, even in multiplayer, which I have played extensively with one other person at a time. Haven't done full team stuff, but so far, honestly, the game, and I'm sure you've noticed in this video, the game looks fantastic. Some really great environment setups and graphics are just awesome. Playability is there. It's very comfortable. I know very early on there was some discussion about how the videos looked that were shown, about how it kind of, a lot of the feedback was about it looks clunky or it feels clunky, or the combat doesn't look fluid and that kind of stuff. But that was so early on. They were literally still developing the very foundation of the animations, you know, to be used in the game. So that kind of stuff is expected in game development. I think that the community, quite frankly, reacted without a whole lot of knowledge on how those things work. This is DE we're talking about. DE, Digital Extremes, who made Warframe, one of the most fast-moving, best combat parkour games ever made. And I will definitely put my name on that. It is unmatched in its fluidity of movement. You will not find a game that's faster. This, in contrast, what can we expect from DE? We can expect that the combat is going to be fantastic. Maybe not as fast. It's definitely not. That's not what they're trying to do. You notice as I'm fighting these enemies here, the combat's not as fast. But that's okay. That's great. This is a different kind of system. It's definitely not as punishing as other games that may have a similar name, for those of you that know what I'm talking about there. The Souls games, as they're typically called, are very punishing and unforgiving, and every move is full commit. This is somewhere in between those two extremes, let's say. And provides a lot of really fun combat, actually. Haven't even had an opportunity to show all the counters, the blocks and riposts and parry system and all that. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on within this game. Let me show you one more thing before I end this video. So you've seen me running around the open world here. I'm not even really doing any kind of events or specific activities. I was just wandering around, looking at the environment and having a little combat fun. Let's go over here. You've seen videos of this most likely if you followed this game. You have this personal space. I won't get too much into the lore at this time, but this is just where you have some NPCs that you can interact with, where you can see your progress on various lore areas that you have revealed. There's already tons of information in the game about its lore and what's really going on and all that. We have crafting available to us already. I can show you that too.
Found something. Have you?
Here's all the different pieces of equipment that I at least have some of the fragments for. You saw some of those pop up when I was looting earlier, and then some more that I've at least discovered some of but don't have all of the parts too. And then the different components you need to actually build a given weapon. Again, I'm not going to get heavily into the mechanics here. I just wanted to make a quick video just to go along with and celebrate the lifting of the NDA, and to just kind of share what's going on behind the scenes and what's available to us in the game of Soulframe right now. There's not a lot of a large map to explore yet. The map is still very small. Don't fret if you don't have access yet. I can tell you that there's not a ton of gameplay available yet because we are very, very early in the process, and that's okay. So don't make the assumption that there's a whole game here. It's not there yet. They're still working on it, very much so. So be patient. There was a reset recently in the early access, meaning that everyone's accounts were reset, all characters were wiped, inventories removed, etc. So we have all started over in our testing, which is good. That is not a bad thing, being reset. I hope they do a few more, because we want to test those early stages of gameplay as well, because that's what determines whether a player keeps playing or not. Quick little show over here of, and you've probably seen some of this too. These are kind of like your attributes or virtues, as they're called: spirit, courage, and grace. These just determine how some of your powers are, how powerful they are, how often you can use them, etc. Again, I don't want to get too much into the mechanics in this video. Just excited that literally the announcement was moments ago. So I thought I would just jump in, get a video up here so that everyone could see that follows my channel that the NDA has been lifted. You're going to start seeing content everywhere on this game. And then we can all, provide the feedback through the forums. Those of us that have access to the early access system have a special Discord where we can go to communicate things as well. But the whole feedback system has been going on for a while and has been already making vast improvements on the game, paired up with the incredible vision and excellent graphics and animation capabilities of Digital Extremes. So the community is already on fire about the game. Lots of excitement around it. Everybody's having a great time playing it and really enjoying what is here. Although limited, we see the vision. We see what's coming. This is going to be one heck of a game that will contrast well against Warframe for Digital Extremes, because it's not a Space Ninja super fast, parkour combat system. It is a more methodical system, a more calculated system where your attacks have to be a little more carefully placed. Instead of everything being about how fast can you apply attacks or how fast can you shoot your weapon, your gun, or whatnot. This is more of a slower, methodical combat, which is fun in its own right. So, anyway, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.